On YouTube now, but I'm here with Devon.
Hey, what's up, Cook?
Yeah. What'd you do at the regional? Tell everyone what you did.
I got top four, playing the best deck of the format, Kashtira, with the little engine that could.
Okay.
So start with the deck list here. I played two Planet Pathfinder. I think this card's really insane. I don't think there was ever a situation where I've seen this card where I didn't want to see it. I think two is the perfect ratio. I didn't brick all day, so terraforming obviously. We played three planet, one card combo. I tried to max out on as many ways to get to that one card combo as possible. We also played three unicorn, pretty self-explanatory. Essentially with these cards here, this is all one card combo. If you can establish this, you're pretty much winning the game. Five zone lock, like I think 30 something% of the time. So sometimes I'll just go double a Rise Heart, and that's more than enough. For even more consistency, I played three Prosperity. Honestly, this card's pretty cracked. I don't think I think this card should get addressed in some way. It's way too good. It makes the deck super consistent. Plus the one card starters. Honestly, it just reminds me of Zoo. For engine, we got three Fenrir here. Pretty self-explanatory. Searches your monsters. It's a good way to get rid of floodgates as well if they sleep on it. Two Rise Heart, sorry. I see people playing one. I think that's incorrect. I think there's a lot of times where this comes up in a grind game. Banishing Theosis off of this in a grind game is often the difference between winning a match and losing it. Typically, if I go a Rise Heart pass, I tend to search the Scareclaw Kashtira and then banish Birth off of a Rise Heart. So that way, on my opponent's turn, I can summon the Kashtira, banish Theosis, add the Birth for follow-up. One Ogre, one Kashtira. You don't need to play more than this. Ogre is just really funny for the 5 zone lock. This is like one of my favorite cards in the deck. It just, the effect to negate as well as it just turns on a lot of recursion is also pretty insane. For the spell engine, we have 3 Birth. I was a madman playing 2 of this before. I think that's incredibly incorrect. It's like one of the best top decks you can get next to Pathfinder. So you pretty much have to max out on this. 3 Theosis, worse E-Tally, but it's still pretty good. Not much to say about it personally. And then 1 Big Bang. So for the hand trap lineup, I played 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 Infinite Impermanence. And then for the MVP of the day, I played 3 Gamma and the Driver that I saw like 4 times. Honestly, Ash and Imperm are pretty self-explanatory. Like, this is pretty good in the cash matchup. Ash, solos Despia a lot of the time. But Gamma, actually, I wanted to play this card specifically because there's 3 cards in my deck that interact really well with Gamma, and that's Pathfinder, Prosperity, and the Field Spell. So these are some of the most popular Ash targets. So with Pathfinder, when people, even if they imperm this on summon, it tributes its cost. So it frees up your plays. If they Ash it and you have the Gamma, they basically go -2 while you go full combo with the Field Spell. You can go into a Mega and just rip their cards.
How am I bricking so hard? What did you do?
Yeah.
This is the only time I've ever bricked.
Another 3 non-engine going second cards, Book of Moon. This can solo a lot against Kashtira, and then it won me my last match against Mathmech. Yeah, my total record was X1. So I think Book of Moon and Gamma really helped solidify that. So I probably wouldn't change those for anything. So after all of my engine, my non-engine, and going second cards, I realized I have 1 spot left, so I decided to play a 1 of Talent. And every time I saw this card, I feel like I sacked my opponent with it. I want to bump it up, but I feel like 3 is too many. I don't like 2, so I might keep it at 1. To go on to the extra deck, we play 1 Omega, God card, probably one of my favorite cards in this extra deck right now. Donner, you need a way to honestly deal with nib tokens and Iblies, and Donner just does it really well. And the fact that it removes itself makes it a little bit better than Lingeribo in my opinion. But I never got Iblis once, so these could literally have just been anything else. Next, we played 2 Shangri-La. I might cut this to 1. I don't know, because like if they do rip this going second, you probably were never making it in the first place. I don't usually make this going second unless I'm trying to make an Arise Heart, and I feel like there's just better ways to do so. I didn't 5 zone lock anyone, but I did. I think Diabolos came up more than this did. Played 2 Arise Heart. I see a lot of people playing 3. I don't think it's correct. I think you want to keep your extra deck relatively like a toolbox, so it doesn't make sense to me to play 3 of these. If they rip both of them, they rip both of them. The chances of it happening, it's never happened to me. Especially in the regionals, it just never happened. They could rip one, but they usually just couldn't get rid of the second one. We played 2 Big Eye. This card's friggin' insane. When I used to play Nib in the main, I used to just steal a token and beat him to death with it. This card's really good. 2 Zeus. I was playing 1 originally. It just kept getting ripped, and that's why I was initially playing the 2 Big Eye. I just didn't want to waste a slot on a second Zeus. Over time, I come to realize that in the Kashmir, sometimes it's just better to make a 4 to 6 mat Zeus and then just clean up that way. Then for the singletons, we play Draco Sack. This is really just for skill drain. It was always a prosp target. It never came up. I didn't play any back row decks for the event, so it was pretty much dead. Another card that's kind of useless was Flare Metal. I was either 2-0ing my opponent or we were finished like with 10 minutes on the clock, so this almost never came up. It was kind of cool because the first effect of this might be interesting, where it can be destroyed by card effects if it has material. That might be a funny way to go into like a Zeus against some deck. I don't know. Diabolos, this card needs to be banned. This card's like really insane. Just having like information on what my opponent is playing is usually enough. I did deck somebody out by exact amount during the regional, which was hilarious. So you have to actually banish cards from their deck to the exact amount that they have banished face down. They just happen to have that same amount, so I did Diabolos and passed, and I won that way. Dark Arm, the Dragon of Annihilation. I don't like this card. Everybody hates on me for it, but I don't know. It came up once. I just feel like even if you against back row decks, it's understandable, but against everything else, I don't know. The card's kind of mid in my opinion. Side deck, we play 3 Droll. This card, speaking of mid, this card is kind of mid. I noticed that it'll either win you the game or it's just dead half the time. Even if I was stopping a search against Mathmech, it still felt really bad. The fact that they usually add the trap as the first search, you pretty much have to pair this with another hand trap or it just does nothing. Triple Lightning Storm. This was originally Hey Trunade. I think this performed better because I didn't face any back row decks, but I'm gonna find out at the Montreal Regional if it's better than Hey Trunade. I just think Hey Trunade's really funny. 3 Dark Ruler, card's insane. It blows out Sprite all the time. Melfi Sprite is kind of it's kind of a scary deck, so you kind of have to have answers to it. Runic Sprite, in my opinion, is kind of a buy with this deck, but I still have to be, I still have to be prepared. So, evenly, super self-explanatory back row decks. Really, I wanted to essentially have 6 side-ins for any matchup I could go up against.
Ask the deck if you can play.
So if I'm going up against a back row deck, usually it's Lightning Storm and Evenly, and then if it's a combo deck, I'll put in maybe Dark Ruler and Lightning Storm or Evenly, whichever one is just particularly better. Typically, if they play around Lightning Storm game 1, I'm probably just going to put it to Evenlys. Yeah, so those are the going second cards. And then for the going first cards, I only decided to dedicate 3 of my extra deck to it, just because the deck just does everything going first. I don't think there's a reason to play more than 3. So 2 Anti-Spell, The card buys a lot of matchups. What's really funny that I actually have done is I've flipped an anti-spell and then I like a Rise Heart banished it just so I could play on my turn if I needed to. It only came out once and like I won that game, but the option to remove this with either a Rise Heart or the field spell is really funny because in the standby phase you can just Shangri-Ira, special something, and then just pop the anti-spell. So. My last card is the Appointer. This card is a God card. I wish it was still at 3. It's one of my favorite cards of all time. It came out twice, and I won both those games because turns out when you have hand knowledge, you rip a card from their hand. It doesn't even matter because you're going to equip it with a Rise Heart, which means that they're never getting that card back. So you've just essentially forceful sentryed them. So this card is cracked. I think this card is really good. Anyway, that's my deck list. So.
Okay. Okay, so what was your final record?
My final record was X1. My only loss was to Drytron of all things. They essentially Azathotted me. There's the Black Magician of Chaos, I think is the name of the card. Essentially says you can't activate monster effects. He played the deck so well that like I had an imperm for it, and he ended up tributing something else to play around the. It was just like it was perfectly played. He also ended on a seal as well, which I think it's a Herald of the Mirage Lights or something. It essentially negates a spell and trap. So he was playing around Imperm, he was playing around Ash. Like even Gamma was useless. Like he had everything. Like he played it really well. Like his end board just really helps facilitate his win condition. So I wasn't even mad. But yeah, so I faced, I believe, 4 Kashtira players. I played Drytron, Flu, and Sprite, I believe. I'm missing one more. I don't quite remember. The Flu matchup was kind of a bye. If you couldn't get the trap, there wasn't really much you could do. Turns out that deck just sucks with a barrier statue. He ended up stealing a game just because he had Dreaming Town as well as like he just Rized me, which it is what it is. The Sprite matchup, I think it was a Swift 2-0. I think I sacked him. I think I just had everything game 1, had everything game 2, so you know I feel kind of bad. Sorry, the last matchup was Mathmech. Mathmech was he was a really good player. I think I just had everything, honestly. I just feel like I made an end board to the point where he couldn't crack it, and then game 2 I managed to see my Lightning Storm. I dealt with the trap, and then I just cleaned it up. Yeah, so overall I think I'm very happy with the deck. I don't think I would change anything, honestly. The only thing that I'd probably change would probably be taking out like this, and you know what, I'd probably just change that, honestly. Like, I think this card's crap. But I understand why you have to play it for time. There might come a situation against Labyrinth or Trap Tricks where, like, I need the time. But overall, I think the deck performed really well. I think it's the best deck of the format. Yeah, so...
7 wins, 1 loss.
Yes, sir.
Okay, congratulations on your top, sir.
Yeah, thanks, man, thanks.